Hey everybody, what's going on? It's the Audible Farm Podcast. It's episode number 45 this week. It's a little bit of a shorter episode, but it's a great episode. So don't sleep on this short one. I'm glad you guys all are tuning in because this episode is brought to you by Couchtown Coffee. Couchtown Coffee is roasted right in Ankeny. It's one of my favorite coffee companies. You can get it roasted any way you want to. They will send it to your house. All you have to do is go to www.couchtowncoffee.com or their Facebook page. I've got links down below. You can check them out. And not only is this my favorite coffee, and not only is it located in Iowa, and not only will they roast it how you want it, and not only will they ship it to you, but because you're my listener and Couchtown Coffee is that awesome, we have a 20% off promo code this week. The promo code this week is METAL. That's right, it's metal. And what's more metal than one of my buddies, Alonso? Zoe is the man. I've known him for a long time, and believe it or not, I don't think the two of us have sat down and talked to each other one-on-one, maybe ever, other than on the phone a couple times. So I kind of pulled out all the stops in this episode. I tracked him down in between a couple of band rehearsals when he was in the Des Moines area over the last weekend, and I sat down with him. Like I said, it was in between band rehearsals, so we didn't have too much time to hem-haw. We had just got done with Unity practice, and Unity's got a show coming up. We talk about that in the upcoming podcast. But he's also got another show booked with another Des Moines band, and we talk about that in the upcoming podcast. I don't think I want to let the cat out of the bag on the beginning of this one, but let's just say Alonso has been in a ton of bands and is in a ton of bands. Let's see here. He's got Words Unspoken. That's definitely an awesome, awesome band. You should check them out. I got links down below. Otherwise, he's been in Unity. He's also the guy that you might remember from another Des Moines band that was pretty popular. Like I said, I'm going to leave that one for upcoming in the podcast. If you read the description, you might be able to cheat your way through it. But Alonso has also been in a band called Eternal Voyager. They're from Minnesota. He splits his time between them and us in Unity, and he's got a busy schedule. The guy's always doing something. He's always somewhere in between here or there or going to shows. He's definitely got a busier concert schedule than I do, and I go to a lot of shows. So hats off to Alonso for finding some time finally to sit down with me. We've been trying to make this happen for a long time because he's got a great story. We don't even touch the tip of the iceberg in this one, so the two of us have decided to sit down and do another interview. Hopefully we can make it a little bit longer. I will be releasing that one in the upcoming weeks, so there will be a part 2, I guess, to this one, even though this one is pretty self-contained. Like I said, I never got to sit down with him too much and talk to him, so I started asking him kind of crazy questions in this, but they're all kind of pertinent because I don't know him too well, and I'm sure that there's people out there listening to this for the first time that don't know Alonso very well either. So I kind of pull out all the stops, I ask him some basic questions, I ask him some pretty complex ones and some weird ones too, and we kind of just go through all sorts of stuff in this one. But it was a really fun podcast because we got some good ideas out of the whole thing, and this is just a good one. As short as it was, this is probably going to be one of my favorite short podcasts, and I can't wait to sit down with Alonso and do another one. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure you check out that Couchtown Coffee promo code. I've done that on a lot of podcasts. Make sure you check out that Couchtown Coffee promo code. Go to www.couchtowncoffee.com. Check it out and tune in for this episode because Alonso is the man.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to put it back in there somewhere, and then after you introduce it with a radio voice, and this is Peter Stockdale.
Peter Stockdale with the Audible Farm
Iowa Public Service. No, it's not like I've been dreading this. It's just I've been doing this shit for over 15 years, so dude,
yeah,
to remember all this shit is gonna be hard.
Yeah, no kidding.
You're gonna push me. You're pushing me to the limits. Yeah, to remember things.
I'm probably gonna try and ask you some questions that I don't know. At least just try to make you remember stuff because I've known you for like 10 years at least. So,
yeah.
So I mean That just to show you that's how long I've been like watching you sing and stuff. And originally
Yeah.
I met you. You're the Dark Mirror guy.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this: is there anything prior to Dark Mirror?
Not in the States.
Not in the
there's
States?
Nothing. Nope. No. There's nothing that I ever recorded or ever did. Even though I try to get into audition for some bands, and actually I tried to audition for Celador. That was a long time ago.
For what band?
Celador.
Celador.
They
All
used
right.
to be out in Nebraska, and now Chris Peterson, singer and guitar player, and main guy of the band. Now he lives in Colorado. But
cool.
yeah, I did things like that. And then prior to that, obviously, I was in a different country, in Chile, where I'm originally from.
Yep.
And I had a Iron Maiden cover band
Oh, cool.
for about, I don't know, 3-4 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I recall doing one studio recording, but it wasn't even for a power metal band or heavy metal or nothing. I was trying to be Danny Filth.
Okay.
Predator Filth.
Okay.
So it was a lot of screeching and growling, and I just didn't. The music, I love the black metal. I love black metal music. It's it's a different vibe that I get.
Totally. Yep.
But I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, and to do that, I was literally drinking during practice or rehearsals and smoking, so my voice will just
change.
sound like shit.
Yeah. That way.
Like naturally sound bad.
Yeah, exactly. You do the cigarette so it gets all raspy and stuff, and then
Exactly.
you drink so you can just go. Bleh,
Exactly.
and
So then it didn't feel like and next day it's like, oh, my throat hurts. It must be all the smoking. And after the years went by and I decided to, that wasn't what I wanted to do and give it a shot to try to do something different in terms of musically speaking, I decided to go to a different route and just start singing more Maiden and try to get into that aspect, and I think it worked out all right.
So did you originally start out just singing kind of like, I like to call them Cookie Monster vocals, where you're just like blah, 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 blah.
And it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It's just that this project and this black metal thing that I had going on was a very odd thing between friends. And I said, I'll do the vocals.
Yeah.
I'll do something. And there's a recording of it. And,
Okay.
And yeah. So
it's just something you did that was a little out of your element for the time.
Completely out.
Yeah.
Completely out. And even we did a party after the recording was done and mix and master. We all came out to the party with a corpse paint and stuff like that.
Oh, gosh, that's crazy.
It's almost embarrassing, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, dude.
It's funny. I think there's a video too. Some
that
pictures.
would be awesome. You'll have to find those.
And the odd part of that was that I was already living here in the States.
Uh-huh.
I went back in 2001 for the first time to Chile, and that's when this whole thing happened.
Uh-huh.
I didn't do any of the Maiden stuff. Any of that. That was my main focus doing what I was spent like 6 months back. I went back as an exchange student to my own country.
Oh gosh, that's crazy.
To my old college.
So
then when they saw me, it's like, oh, we got all these Americans coming in, and then
You're one of them. Yeah.
How is this guy? How is this guy?
This guy doesn't look like a typical quote American guy.
Exactly. It's not the gringo we're expecting. So yeah. So it was that was kind of funny because they're like, everybody will give me shit because of it.
Yeah.
And now we're like, dude, but it is what it is.
Yeah, totally, man.
So
it's totally understandable that you would lean more towards like a Iron Maiden style vocals. I mean, that's what I know you as, is more of a, I don't want to say, what would you call it, like an upper register singer? I don't know what the technical term for something like that. But
man, you ask him about technicalities, and I'm not a very technical guy. I just know the things that I should not do and the things that I should do prior, and after that. But it is, I think it's called baritone. I think that's what it's called.
I'm not sure. Yeah, you get
and the high register. And dude, I learned a lot by watching and looking at all the singers and digging on the internet for advice and how to breathe. And I took some classes later on in my years. Later on, it was like 2012, 13.
Hey, put that mic in front of your face, boss.
In front of my face like this. Like you do it when you're singing.
Yeah.
I'm naturally loud. So I don't know, sometimes I feel like I've got way...
I totally get the disparity for this, because this is like a really controlled environment. You're used to singing notes that you can't put the microphone right in your face.
I'm controlled in this. Yeah, he has me trapped in his vehicle. Please check out my location.
Send Cheez-Its.
Yeah, exactly.
No, okay. So I got another question for
Go
you.
ahead.
I heard. Okay, this is going to be a funny one. I heard when I first met you that you learned how to speak English through music.
That is true.
There's truth to that.
There is a lot of truth to that. Back in my day when none of this music stuff was in my radar at all, I was just a listener.
Yep.
I listened to music, and I recall I got into actual heavy metal when I was 14 years old.
Oh, cool.
And they got me into heavy metal when I was 14 years old because I was listening to what was on the radio.
Uh-huh.
And I would listen to from, and this might sound weird, from the New Kids on the Block that was on the radio back then.
Yep.
Shit, back then, and then to the Doors.
Yep.
And Scorpions in between,
Yep.
and then Poison, and then Twisted Sister, and then some Metallic will come in and whatever, and there wasn't any like established radio station that would play you like that, all heavy metal
Yep.
or
So-
whatever.
So you had to like go to a store to find this stuff, or where'd you find all this stuff?
They were all dub tapes.
Oh, nice. So there's
My best friend in Chile, his name is Ricardo. He goes by Richard. And he gave me, when I was 14, he gave me all the tapes dubbed from, it was from Killers.
Okay.
From Killers all the way to Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. No Pride for the Dying. And Fear of the Dark.
jeez.
Fear of the Dark. So he gave me all those
That's wicked.
dubbed. And I was like, okay. And most of the people that get into metal, most of the people will tell you Maiden. Why?
Yep.
Because they had the coolest fucking artwork. And that
Dude,
is the whole
yeah.
truth.
Yep.
And you heard that in many like official DVDs, and a lot of musicians nowadays, well known, they will say exactly the same thing.
Yep.
And you're like, damn.
Yeah, you flip through the albums and you're like, that's the one.
That's
right there.
the one right there. Exactly.
Yep.
So, and you didn't know what he meant. You just said, this is so cool. I'm going to
Yep.
listen to it. And then, and I got into it. And since then, I was like, I want to know what the guy's talking about.
Uh-huh.
So, with the little to no English that I had,
Yeah.
I listened to it, headphones, and I was like, at night, when everybody was sleeping, so I could hear the
Yep.
best possible.
Yep.
And try to make up the words. And I was like, okay, he said you and N, and then I will make a line where
Yep.
I didn't quite catch what he said,
Yeah.
what he said. So then I could sing. Down there when I started my Maiden band, the tribute, I was the guy who could enunciate the best the lyrics that were actually that
Okay.
were closer to the lyrics.
Yep. Dude, so that's crazy. So I was just thinking, like, why didn't you look at the liner notes? You didn't have any liner
No,
notes.
they
you
were
know?
all the tapes were dubbed,
Dude.
dude. And then if you go to get an original tape, you will get the one that you can get most of the lyrics with.
Yep.
Like a live CD where or not even a CD, dude,
Yeah,
live
like,
tape.
Let's say in the off chance there is some Maiden somewhere that you can actually go buy. Is it going to be in Spanish? Like, do
No, but
okay.
trust me on this because I have those tapes. I bought original tapes, Maiden tapes in Chile, and the artwork.
Yep.
Even though it says the name Iron Maiden,
Yep.
right? It tells you the name of the title of the album in Spanish.
Spanish.
And also the track.
The tracks are all in Spanish too?
Spanish too.
Dude, that's cool.
But the translation wasn't quite right sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
like
okay,
in one of them, like The Duelists,
Yep.
which is an instrumental song that Maiden has, I believe is in the Power Slave album. The translation of that will be, to use it in Spanish, will be the Contenders, right? The Duelists,
Yeah.
Contenders.
Yep.
And what they did, the translation said the Containers.
The Containers. Oh no.
Oh no!
That had to
Exactly,
be-
that's the wrong.
That had to be a white guy making the translation.
I don't know.
And he's
down
like,
there,
and he's like, it looks great.
It looks
Just send
great.
it down there.
Let's
Just
send
send it down there.
And the funniest thing is, I
Oh,
have
no.
that tape. I have that tape.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I recall with the names on the tapes, you
Oh,
had to
my
put like a Scotch tape. So else, because when you grab
Yep.
them out
Yep.
and switch them size, you're wearing off the paint on the
Yeah.
album.
Dude, that is so cool. You know, you come from Chile, so it's such a different place than here, and you and I have just a big enough gap in our age where I kind of grew up with the internet, at least through my teens even. And you're talking about a time where like you couldn't go to YouTube. There's literally nowhere for you to open up even a book to say these are the lyrics to this. So you're literally going off
Exactly.
phonetics only, and then trying to like reverse engineer your way into some Iron Maiden like that.
And you know, it's weird. Correct. And then after that, I was like, okay, I can't get any further. So where is my next step? Go to college to be an English teacher.
Yeah.
Then I will learn the language as I can teach people how to learn language.
Yeah.
but I'll know the lyrics before I do that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
So I actually got into college to teach English.
That's cool. That's actually really crazy. So you went to college. Did you come to college in America to teach English?
No, that was in Chile.
You started in Chile.
I started in Chile. And the craziest thing that was when then, after that, I arrived to America, I was here and I was like, fuck this. I'm going to learn the language by being here. So let's study something else.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the other thing.
I'm not going to teach English.
I bet you ran into a situation where the English you were taught was like so formal, and when you go over here, you're like, nobody uses this word.
Yeah, it was hard.
You know,
sometimes was hard because down there in college where I was, in the department was almost like the English department was almost divided because of the way that they taught you, and some of those professors went to England and some of them came to America. Then when they came to teach,
yep,
they struggled teaching what they wanted to teach you, know what it was proper or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So it was like
I mean, even something simple like a jumper is like a jacket in England, but it's like a jacket.
Or even how you say the numbers. You know, it's like 22 or 22 or 22, and they will say no. I'm like, why is that wrong?
Dude, yeah, and that makes a lot of sense too, because you come up here and you go to like the Bronx, it's different than down south, it's different than out west, it's different than the Midwest.
Yeah, but imagine trying to teach you from a completely different country when a fag is not a fag, as you know here, it's a cigarette.
Dude, yeah, there you go.
That's what I'm saying. A flat. Hey, come to my flat. I'm like, what?
You
my
have a flat
apartment.
Tire? Yeah, okay.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
I get it.
It is a struggle because you're as a student, even though we're getting completely off topic.
Yeah.
But as a student, you struggle to like, well, which one is right? Both are right.
Yeah, both are right. Just depends on where you're at and who's around you.
Exactly. So that's a bunch of bullshit. But anyways, in that way, I was able to I recall, and I have pictures. I have a specific picture when I'm sitting in a bed with my younger brother behind me, and he's crying, he's bawling. I can't remember why, but I'm sitting down with my headset. I'm looking back, and I have a piece of paper and a pencil. I'm writing all this stuff that I'm listening to. I was trying to listen to a song, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I recall that was actually the Keeper of the Seven Keys by Halloween.
Halloween, dude. That's
so I was just sitting there trying to fucking make up all the words. And this guy is German, right? So he's speaking in a different language.
Yes.
So you're trying to figure out what he's saying.
Yes. Okay, so that's another thing I wanted to like along the lines of the original question was you learned English from music.
Correct.
Initially.
That was the purpose.
Did you take some of your accent from, like, say, some of the guys in Halloween or something like that? Because I can't say that you have okay, so if somebody from Mexico comes to America, they've got a little bit of a Hispanic accent. It's understandable, but yours isn't quite so. I can't nail it down. I can't tell. Does everybody in Chile have the same kind of accent? Do you think that you do?
No, I don't think so, and I don't think so because I've been living here. They have not.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then when they come here, their accent is pretty thick. And even now my accent has died down a little bit, but I was just back in Chile for a vacation, and every time I go back, my accent kind of like hits a reset.
Yeah.
You know, and it gets thicker as like when I come back, and then it just dies down much faster.
Okay.
But I've been told that when I sing, there's no accent. It sounds just like like on anybody.
Yeah, you can't tell. Like it's one of those like Bruce Dickinson. You can't tell he's got an accent at all. Even in sometimes in how he pronounces words, he doesn't pronounce them with like a Briticism at all. And then he talks, and you're like, I can't understand a word this guy's saying.
Yeah,
you know.
The hardest time for me to the hardest one that I get to understand is the bass player. They all come from different parts of England, and they all speak differently.
Yeah.
British.
Yeah, dude.
Thick accent. So it's even worse, you know?
Yep. I remember actually on an Iron Maiden DVD I got on the inside that says there's closed caption for the hard of hearing and the American English.
Yeah.
And so it's like for people like us, that's just like I learned how to speak American dialects and I can't understand what they're saying half the time.
I put everything like going back to the whole English learning thing. To this day, I rather watch a movie at home. That I can hear, I can see the closed captioning, so I can see the words. There's still words that escape my vocabulary, my language, completely.
Yeah.
Completely. And if I go to the theater, if I miss it, I fucking miss it. There's no way to come back to that.
It could be the punchline or something,
or
very important.
Correct. So
or like it could be a proper noun that you think, did this guy say something? And it's like, no, it's a place. It's a place that he's naming.
Correct. Or something else. It could be anything. It's like, oh shit, I missed what he said. Or he said it's so soft.
Yeah. Oh,
and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know. So, but at home, I got the closed caption. TV, anything that I watch, it comes with a closed caption. Anything.
Do you do English closed caption then?
Yes.
Nice,
Yes.
nice.
Yeah. I have a hard time. Watching movies in English with a Spanish subtitle.
Yeah, I would wonder if there'd be a disparity because you might
my-
end up with some of those like container issues again. You never know.
It's a bunch of container. It's my brain divides, and like part of my side is watching the movie, and the other part is looking at where the words are, just to catch if there is a mistake or something.
Yep.
You know, and usually that happens when I'm watching movies with my mom. But dude, it's funny. My brain just goes like super weird. It's like I don't even know what I'm paying attention to.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So you and I have actually been spending quite a bit of time together in the band Unity. You kind of got it all. You got a new lineup back up in Unity. We played a handful of shows last year.
Yes.
Took a short hiatus. We got some shows booked for this year at the end of the year.
two more shows. Yeah.
It's going to be great. We're actually recording this fresh off of one of our practices, and you got another practice to go. Do you want to maybe give a little wink at what's going on?
It's fine. Yeah. We're talking music, so it's all no big deal. A couple months back, I was approached with the idea of getting Darmir out of a hiatus and try to get a show here in town in Des Moines with Warbringer and Enforcer. And I thought it was a great idea. And the original guitar player, Eric Wicker, I got in touch with him, and he said that he will be in town that weekend. And so he knows the set list. We're going to possibly get a practice with them before the day of the show. Is September 20th. And then at the Vaudeville Muse. And then we're going to hit the stage, and hopefully we hit it running, and we hit a home run, and hopefully, maybe, we'll get to record a new album, and we'll get to do a few more shows. So hopefully that works out. So today is going to be the first practice for me and them.
Yeah, like
thinking about it.
5 years plus, 6 years, 7 years?
More than that. I started Darmir in 2005.
Yeah,
so
and
that's been quite a bit. So I haven't sung these songs in like 15 years.
So I actually went and saw Dark Mirror in I want to say 2007 maybe in Milwaukee. There was a Megadeth show. You guys were one of the openers. It was a big show.
Yeah, I recall that.
There was a decent amount of bands there, and you were one of the openers. It was wicked cool. It was you, Marco, who I did a podcast with, and then Tim and Eric. Tim and Eric. Tim was the drummer.
Correct.
Actually, I got a chance to play with him, play one show with him in Unity, which was really cool to actually get to spend some time with a different drummer, because I spend most of my time around Clint drumming-wise, so it's
correct.
It's nice to get that different aspect of what's going on.
A different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you recorded a couple albums with Dark Mirror. They're available on Spotify and stuff.
Yes.
And I showed these albums to people, and they're just like, holy crap, these guys are from Iowa. And it's like, yeah, they did tons of shows. They came up to Fort Dodge, because I'm from that area.
I recall that show. That show was interesting because after we got done playing in Fort Dodge, some lady approached me there, and she spent some time in Germany, and she spoke German to me, and I said, I don't understand what you're saying. I have no idea.
And did you think you spoke German then?
For some reason, the type of music, and then she spoke in English, and she said, "You guys sound just like any band in Germany."
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, shit.
I mean, that's kind of awesome, but kind of disheartening. Where it's like, oh, we sound that awesome, but at the same time, we sound like a run-of-the-mill
I had
band
another
over there
experience back in the day with early Dark Mirror up in the Reverb, the all Reverb in Main Street, Cedar Falls.
Yep, upstairs.
Upstairs, yeah. We're opening for. I want to say it was 3 Inches of Blood. The first time.
Cool.
And we played our set, and some guy in the crowd said, "Where are these guys from?" I hear him right when we get done with the song. It all dies down, and I can hear the guy saying that. And I said, "We're from Finland." And he said, "Really?" And I said, "No, not really." I said, "We're from here." So there's a lot of people that when we started doing this with the sound of Dark Mirror, that it was something unheard of around the area.
Oh yeah, totally.
And yeah, it could have been. I think it could have been a good thing.
I think it was a breath of life in a area that was, and I'm not trying. It always comes back to this, but I feel like Des Moines is always somewhere chasing this Slipknot kind of feel. It always seems to be most metal leans towards the Slipknot direction. If I had to put Slipknot on one side and Iron Maiden on the other side and put a needle in the middle and say point to where it's going to go, it's going to lean pretty hard Slipknot-y. And you guys were more of a Maiden-esque kind of a harmony-based.
It was all that idea. Yeah. I mean, when I heard the stuff that Eric was writing for Dark Mirror, for the first time, that actually Marco approached me with the idea of, he said, I have a band and all this, but we're just only 2 people. Do you mind listening to these demos? And I'm 10 years older than Marco.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll listen to this.
Yep.
I didn't have anything in mind, like any expectations or whatever. And then I sat down and listened to some of the stuff, and I was like, wow, some of this shit is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty
definitely.
good. And me not knowing, I don't know notes. I
Yep.
can't pick up notes. I don't know the names of the notes when I hear them. Everything that I play is by ear. It's by my experience as a listener,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking what I think, playing what I think is right or sounds right at a certain spot in a song or the way it should be.
Yeah.
So I say, I'll give it a shot. I'll put some words together or whatever. And I recall when Dark Mirror, the song Dark Mirror it was spawned,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what it was. I recall it was like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, and I put it on a CD. I put this track on a CD, and back in the day,
Uh-huh.
I was driving a Delta 88,
Oh, cool. Cool.
no CD player,
Oh,
no
da-
CD
oh,
player.
yeah.
So I had to go and buy this tape connectors to a CD
Yeah,
player.
yeah, to the
and
Walkman
and
thing.
the Walkman, and you need to be careful because
Yeah,
the
you-
shit
yeah,
will
you
skip.
go over a bump
So you
and
had to
it's-
exactly. So you had to put it there. I'm calling on the actual telephone line, Eric, because I'm not texting him.
Yep.
Because there's no email,
Yep,
whatever.
yeah.
Well, there's
The-
email, but
But the technology isn't
exactly,
there
it
yet.
isn't there. So I'm like, I call him and I said, dude, you need to wait for me, like downstairs at your building. He's in the dorms at UNI.
Mhm.
He said, okay. And I believe this shit is like in November or some shit like that.
Yep.
And I drive down there. I live in Waterloo. I drive all the way down there. He sits in my car. I put this shit in, and we sat there and we listened to this. And we're like, wow.
Yeah, you
dude,
got
this
something here.
Shit.
Yep.
Holy shit. And he's like, dude, I so picture this shit. Like,
Yeah.
completely. That song came together so nicely that it was like effortlessly. Anything that he would throw at me, I'll be like,
How about
I'll-
this?
I will put a touch in it, and it was magic. With Eric, it's always like that. He'll
Yep.
say, I got a CD with 10 songs. If somebody tells you that, you're like, yeah, maybe I can
Yeah.
fix this. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, yeah, you got like 8 songs in here. We're ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to him though, because like I said, it was he's playing music that's not necessarily the common music that's around the area,
Correct.
and he's playing this like Maiden style stuff, which is what I have a preference to, and you do. And then I'm sure you guys figured out as soon as you started doing the Dark Mirror thing, there's a lot of other people out there that like this music.
Yeah,
Just because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not common doesn't mean people don't want to go see it.
Correct. And most people are like, where did this guys come from?
Yeah, exactly.
Usually they will think these guys are touring with this guys or whatever. No,
Mm-hmm.
I recall one time, and this I'm always gonna remember this. One time, Dark Mirror, one of the last shows that I played with them before I decided to depart, was we went to Milwaukee
Mhm.
to open up for Primal Fear,
Yep.
and that show, it was fucking packed.
Yep.
Like, incredibly packed, and we had to pay into to play the show, and
Yep.
we're like, you know what, let's do it.
Yep.
Let's do it. Why not?
Yeah. Packed house.
We didn't know that. We just, dude, it's Primal fucking Fear. Let's
Yep.
do this.
Okay. Yeah.
We went there. We paid like, I think that was like $350, $400 to pay in. So even if we didn't sell any fucking tickets, we're like, man, we'll see if we sell CDs or whatever.
Yep.
We got completely obliterated by the crowd, and we had no merchandise left.
Oh wow.
We
Cool.
sold
Yeah.
everything that we had.
That's crazy cool.
Everything. We came back empty, and we're like, dude, we got nothing back. Nothing.
Yep.
So we got our money's back.
Yep.
We got a hell of a fucking show.
Yeah, dude.
And man, we got to
and-
play with Primal Fear. You can.
Yeah, now there's a bunch
You
of people
made
out
that shit
there
up.
wearing wearing Dark Mirror
Shirts
billboard
or
shirts,
whatever. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm just saying, it was something special. It was something special, and then it got harder and harder, and then I was like, I need to do something different. you
Yeah,
know?
and I mean,
It was getting too slow for me. I got a lot of ideas going on and songs, and it just didn't pan out.
Yeah.
And in a way, you know what? I don't feel bad that it didn't, because now it's like a full circle, and it feels like the forces that started the band, it's almost the same forces that are united now to create
Exactly.
recreate what we had. And I've heard some of the new songs that Eric has in mind, and I've demoed some stuff with him, and some of this stuff has the same magic. It's the same formula.
Yeah.
It's the same formula.
That's
And
cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. And he has not stopped writing the way he has. He's mature musically and more intricate and more melodic. And
That's
and
awesome.
His style is unique. What he writes is very unique.
Mhm.
It's very unique because it's not one thing.
Yeah.
It's not just Maiden sounding like. It's not just. It's like a Megadeth with a Maiden anger that comes from I don't know.
Yeah.
And some of this shit is pretty aggressive,
Mhm.
very aggressive, but melodic at the same time. So it's I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So you ended up leaving Dark Mirror. About what year was that? 2000.
That was in 2010,
10. All right. And
2010.
you started Unity.
2011.
And
Yeah.
then Unity in 11. And how did Unity come about? Like, what was the who all did you pick for Unity, and how did that shake down? Because if I recall correctly, it was a lot of people that were, I want to say foreign, but they didn't really have. There's a lot of people that had
No.
It wasn't just like John Smith and
Yeah. No.
stuff like that.
What I did for Unity, I had already spoken to Tim Cummings, which is the ex drummer for Dark Mirror, and I said, hey, you know what? I got this idea of this band that sounds, like this, a little more, power metal sounding than just Dark Mirror. Something like the next step. What I wanted to take Dark Mirror to what the next step should have been, and he said, yeah, I'm all down. I'm down for this and that. And I said, okay. Cool. So then one day I run into Jasko, a guy from Bosnia,
Yep.
in a music shop, and he works there. I didn't even know that. I just went there to put an ad on the door.
Yep.
That was it. And actually, I went in there and I said, "Is the owner?" He said, "No." And I said, "Well, do you mind if I put this on?" I don't care. I put it in there and I said, "Unity, looking for a guitar player, European style metal music, blah blah blah."
Mm-hmm.
And I put it in there and I walk out.
Yep.
And he comes running after me. He said, "You know what? I wanna be part of this."
That's awesome.
And I don't recall him, but Marco tells me that one time when the drummer that replaced the drummer that Clint replaced, AJ, was gonna play the last show with Amir, right? And he got on stage. Like we had Tim playing drums, and then AJ came in to play, and I think that and Clint came to that show, but he didn't play that show. So he got on stage. Jasko got on stage, and we needed some Metallica covers, and he got up there and said, "I don't remember that." Marco does.
Oh, that's crazy.
Marco does, and I'm like, "You remember this guy?" I just, And I'm like, "No, I don't." He's like, "Dude, that Metallica show when we play the Metallica tunes and stuff." And I'm like, "Nah, dude, I don't remember."
That's
I
crazy.
don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So it's another guy from your past that just kind
Yeah.
of chased you down out the door. You didn't even get to leave the sign hanging up.
Exactly. So we got together, and he got pretty good ideas. I mean, most of the songs that you learned,
Yep.
most of the songs, he wrote those songs.
Yeah, dude.
I collaborated in certain things, certain aspects of it, but like the melodies, the lyrics, that was all me.
Mm-hmm.
But he had some crazy ideas. Some of his writing was very, very good.
Yeah, it's
Very good.
just from like my perspective. When I started learning them, it was like there's no cookie cutter. It's not like he just took all the ideas from one song and just spit them out in another song.
Correct.
And he didn't do that.
No song sounds the same.
No, it's
And
definitely
that
one
is
of
10
those,
songs.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you're like, who wrote all this stuff? Because you could even be like, this song kind of sounds like a Symphony X song a little bit, and this song kind of sounds like a Maiden a little bit.
Correct.
And every song's got a little different flavor. It's just a couple different colors than you would normally see.
We got to play some cool shows. We got to open for Saxon.
I was there.
We opened up for Sabaton. We opened up for Fozzy.
Yep, I was at that show.
At that show, it was with.
That was
Dora too?
That was with
We played
Saxon.
With Saxon, yeah.
Because I think have you guys opened up for Saxon twice?
No, once.
Okay,
Only
so
once, only
I
once.
was at that Fozzy Saxon show.
We played. Those are the Jasko years.
Queensryche.
But that was afterwards.
Yep.
I was gonna say, I was thinking about that one too, but I'm like, that's why I said these are the Jasko years.
Yep, like Jasko.
Jasko.
All right.
Yeah. So, but we got to go to. We went to Madison. We did a little tour. We played at Madison. Then we played in Rochester, and which is weird because our first live show was in Rochester,
Minnesota. That's cool. That's kind of neat.
That was our home. That was our home base.
That was your home base. Is that really where you guys were out?
No, but I'm just saying we just played our first show there live. Not even in town.
That's
not
crazy.
even in town. So
and not even in Iowa.
Exactly. So a band gets booked to play in a completely different city to have their first show just to play somewhere, and you're just telling these people, no, dude, we sound good. Check out some videos and stuff,
Yep.
And they said, okay, we'll put you on.
That's crazy.
And it worked out. I was like, oh, my God. That's when we started playing Accident of Birth.
Oh, okay,
That's when we started playing that. That's when
Bruce
the first,
Dickinson.
Bruce Dickinson song. Oh, we opened up for Into Eternity as well. I remember
sweet.
that at Spicoli's.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to say that Into Eternity was at that Megadeth show as well, like the Dark Mirror Megadeth show way back in the day. Does that sound,
you know what?
That sound right?
That sounds right. That sounds about
familiar,
right.
but
It sounds about right.
Don't quote me, but if somebody wants to look it up, go for it.
Yeah, go for it. And actually, I'm gonna look it up too because now it makes sense to me.
Yep.
Because when Megadeth did they were doing their what was it called?
United Abominations tour.
It wasn't that. Remember that they had a festival. Megadeth had a festival.
The Gigantour.
Exactly.
That's what it was.
That's what they brought in Into Eternity.
Yep.
If you have that video, that live DVD, there's a song in there by Into Eternity that were there live. So
Cool.
what you're saying makes sense to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Now it's making sense.
I'm fairly certain. So
Yeah,
you might
so-
have played with them
Oh
twice in
my
two different
God!
bands, like years apart. So that's
years
neat.
apart. Yeah, we open up with Dark Mirror, dude. We have a huge list of shows that we played and musicians that we met. I mean,
Dude, yeah.
Ranges of Blood. We played with Overkill. We opened up for Overkill, for Exodus, for Warbringer.
Yeah, dude.
Back in the day, Into Eternity twice. Once in in Cedar Falls, once in Des Moines.
Yep.
And dude, my memory just completely escapes me all these fucking shows. I ain't gonna have to go start looking up all those shows
dude.
and stuff. It's amazing the amount of people that I've met. It's incredible.
Well, that's the other thing.
Incredible.
I think, is like even in this short amount of time I've been playing, I've been afforded some awesome opportunities, especially with Unity, where it's like the bands that I get to open up for. I mean, even like the Striker show was something. Unleash the Archers and Helium Prime.
Yeah.
I was like, it was one of those deals where I knew how good the bands were because I heard a couple songs going in, and I was just like, I'm gonna get in over my head if I think about how good these guys are. So I just kind of like ignored it and was just like, I just got to get up there and play. And I got done playing, and I went outside and moved all my stuff to my car and came back in and was like, holy shit, these guys are good. I totally would have psyched myself out had I known how full that building was gonna be.
Yeah. It is, and just just be aware.
Yep.
They're
Yeah,
coming
dude.
back again, and we're gonna
Dude,
play
it's-
with them. And
yeah,
then in November, when we're playing out in Chicago, that's gonna be something. That's gonna
Dude,
be
yeah.
something. I've never played with Unity in a festival like that, and this opportunity. We got a show offer. It was last year, Masters of Metal, and our bass player at the time, he got terribly ill, and we were not able
Yep.
to play the show, and it really sucked. That was.
Yeah,
That was very unfortunate.
That was a rough one. Yeah, that was a good show, good lineup. But you know what? That stuff happens, though, and you just got to go with it. Because even as a band, we sat down and debated, do we go without a bassist? But we all sat down and also thought, you're going to miss the full experience. And there's no reason.
Correct. There's no reason
It's
to
like
short
showing up
anybody.
it's like showing up with a Camaro with 3 tires. It doesn't make sense. You're just like, check out this car. And someone's like, it's only got 3 tires.
Yeah. My
Like-
piece of shit drives faster than yours.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, so that's
Correct.
You're missing something, and you can't just go without the bassist.
Correct. And that's important. That's important. So hopefully nothing goes less good. Let's not call it bad. We're just gonna call it less good.
Yeah.
For that November show. I'm really looking forward to that, and it's gonna be something special for me, and hopefully for everybody else that's involved that day. It's gonna be special. It's gonna be good.
What do you think the biggest show you've played is?
Queensryche.
Queensryche?
Queensryche, hands down.
Dude, that
Hands down.
was that down at Woolies here, the
At
one that I went
Woolies.
to? Yeah, that place was packed. And the coolest part about that was I went in there and I was like, oh, I'm going because Unity's open because I don't know how good Queensryche sounds nowadays without Jeff Tate. So I was like, I'm going to go into this one, another one blind. It's like, I know Unity. We'll listen to this. Dude,
Correct.
Queensryche was freaking awesome, dude.
I know.
Like, freaking so good.
I know. Queensryche. Yeah, and one of the things is that night we played a Halloween cover,
Oh,
and
cool.
I recall Todd LaTorre coming down from the back from the green room, coming out to check out that we were doing that. That's maybe the second or the third time that has happened. One time with Dark Mirror over here at the Babel Muse, we opened up for Into Eternity. And with Eric was still in the band, we played Fly of Icarus by Maiden.
Oh, sweet.
And Stu Block comes out of the fucking
That's
back
cool.
to check that out,
Yep.
you know? So I'm like, yeah, that makes you proud. And then with Unity, we did a show where we opened up, we played with Into Eternity. And Tim Roth, the guitar player for Into Eternity, goes and says, man, that's my favorite fucking Brazilian song. So it's been the covers that we picked. They have been head turners.
Yeah,
if you ask me. So it's been pretty smart about that, and people get to remember that stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Do you want to cut this a little bit short because your practice is
It's
coming
about
up.
to start here in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I have given my throat no rest whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. You did one practice, and then you're like, I'm going to take a break, and then I snag you out here for a podcast. So it's like, hey, just
dude,
talk.
we needed to do this.
Yes, we do.
It was overdue.
Yes, it was very overdue. We'll have to sit down again when you have a little bit more time.
Yeah, dude, definitely.
Maybe you can plan out some good
We
stories.
can call this a part one, and then let me go and revise some of my stuff that I have, and if I can remember more stuff, we get together for part two.
All right, man. Part 2 is going to happen. All right, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
very much.
Absolutely. Yeah, Alonso's a real good guy, man. I'll tell you what, it was good to sit down and talk with him. We didn't, like I said, we barely even glossed over any of the bands, but we did get on that little nugget of Dark Mirror. Dark Mirror's come up in the podcast a handful of times. They were definitely one of the most influential bands as far as local bands to me. They're one of the only bands I saw out there playing that European style of metal, I guess you could call it, that new wave of British heavy metal or the thrash metal. There's other bands out there doing it, but some of my buddies were in the band, and I went and saw them before my buddies were in the band, and I kind of just took a liking to them. So it's one of those weird deals where I've seen them so many times, and it's just so enjoyable to me to go out there and get to see them again. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait for that show, Enforcer. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so fun. So, check that show out. Make sure you follow the Dark Mirror links down below because they are starting to fire their social media back up. I'm so excited for them. Make sure you also check out all the other links below. We talked about Unity a little bit. We didn't really talk too much about Eternal Voyager, but I'm hoping to get more questions in on him on a second part for this episode. Hey, I'll tell you what, let me fade the music out here real quick. All right, now that I've got that quieted back down, I wanted to talk to everybody a little bit about something. I had an episode not too long ago with Gene Walker. Gene, let's see here, I'm looking for the episode numbers, 39. That episode was a really good one. If you want to go back, check that episode out. It was tons of fun. I figured while I had a few spare minutes on this week's show, I'd talk a little bit about that. He recommended a podcast to me, and it was called Disgraceland. And I know there's a lot of people out there listening to a lot of different podcasts by a lot of different people. Shout out to everybody listening to this one right now. But that podcast is really good. It goes through all sorts of different things in the music scene that might be, I don't want to say true crime-ish, but it's a lot of the things that were, this is might be a conspiracy, or I don't know if this ever happened, or did you hear that story about this, or pick a story that might end with a little bit of tragedy, and I'm sure they've talked about it. Let me just give you a small rundown of a few of the episodes. They talk about Jerry Lee Lewis, Sid Vicious. They talk about the Norwegian black metal scene, which I read about when I was growing up, and I was like, this can't actually be a thing. And sure enough, it's a thing. So maybe check that one out. That was one that really caught my eye, and I couldn't believe how passionate he seems to be about all these things. He talks about Lisa Left Eye Lopez, the Rolling Stones, Tay-K, Bob Marley, Tupac. The list goes on and on and on. There's a two-parter about John Lennon in there. I mean, like I said, it just keeps going on and on. There's Marvin Gaye, Big Lurch, Kurt Cobain. Not all these names might be super familiar to you, but I guarantee you will know somebody in one of these episodes. The reason I'm talking about this podcast is not because I have any affiliation with it at all or any remotely. I just found this podcast based on a recommendation in an earlier podcast from Gene, and Gene talked about it. We kind of glossed over it briefly. I told him I'd check it out, And I don't know if Gene's listening to this episode, but I just got to say, Gene, it's a great podcast, man. I have, like, neither one of us has anything to do with it or any reason to promote it, but I just want to say, if you guys like music stuff and you want to hear some crazy stories about the music scene, check that out. It's really worth a listen. I know that the true crime stuff is kind of blowing up all over the place on the internet, and that's what a lot of people are really kind of taking to. And this is somewhere in that vein, and that's one reason that I was kind of just like, hey, maybe everybody might want to check this out because they might really enjoy it. So if you're like me and you travel a lot and you want to listen to more music-based podcasts, or just maybe you're tired of your same old podcast regiment that you have, first off, I recommend going and listening to that Gene Walker episode. He's full of tons of knowledge, but he recommended this podcast to all of us for us to check out, and it's amazing. So check it out. Shout out to Gene for that awesome recommendation. Through the last handful of weeks, like I said, I've just been plowing through those episodes, and they're good. They're really good. I've listened to some that I had no clue who the artists were, and now I know a lot about them. So it's really kind of cool, you know. So make sure you check that out. Also check out some of the older episodes that I've recorded. I just wanted to every now and then tip a cap back at some of the older episodes. While I'm also talking about older episodes, and I've done episodes with a couple of the guys from the J. Clyde band, and I went and saw them recently. It would have been about a week ago, and it was awesome, man. They played, oh man, I'm going to forget. I believe it was like Lake City Fun Days or something. I'm going to look it up right now. But I love going to watch those guys play. They're tons of fun. I've seen almost all their videos on their YouTube channel. They do not disappoint. It's I was wrong. It's Lakeview Water Carnival. Pretty sure Lake City doesn't have a lake next to it. Maybe somebody can tweet me and maybe comment down below and clue me in on that. But anyways, J. Clyde Band was at Lakeview, Iowa, and I went with my buddy Vince I did a podcast with him too. And we were hoping to get another podcast episode recorded here pretty soon. I might have a fun special edition one coming out soon with Vinny Boy. So go check out the local scene. I've been trying to catch as many shows live as I can. I ended up missing the Eli Dykstra show when he came near my area. Big hats off to Eli Dykstra. That guy he's always doing so much. He's one of the premier guitarists in Iowa, and the guy's just a teenager. So go check him out live sometime. I did an episode with him. Was riddled with a few audio issues, but I'll tell you what, that episode is gold money as well. So maybe this could be something. Maybe you chime in and let me know what one of your favorite episodes was from the past. Maybe I'll put a poll up on the Facebook, and you guys can all check that out. I'm pretty sure everybody's tired of hearing me ramble, but I don't know if anybody saw down below in the description section, all the way at the bottom, a couple of weeks back, and here and there, I've popped in this link for to shop Audible Farm. I've had a lot of people asking me if they can get Audible Farm podcast stickers, and I'll tell you what, I'm totally in. The only problem is they kind of cost me a lot of money, so I'm gonna try and recoup my cost back out of it. I put a couple bucks on the top end of it to be like a donation, I guess. If anybody wants some stickers, you can go to eBay. I've got a link down below in the description section, and if you want to help me kind of keep the podcast going, I guess I do a lot of traveling and it takes a lot of time to do all this stuff, so you can have some Audible Farm podcast stickers and toss me a couple of bucks in there as well, and you guys can enjoy the stuff. Check out the links, like I said, down below. There should be links to all of them. I've got these ludicrously high quality stickers that will, if you put them on a car, they'll last years and years and years. The sun won't fade them. It's crazy. I've tried to put these things through the test just about any way I can. I've put handfuls of them through dishwashers and things like that, and they still last. I've yet to see one directly inside of like a bathroom stall, but I've been trying to coax people to put them in there just to see if they last. So we'll see what happens. But I do have some Audible Farm podcast stickers. I am willing to ship them to anybody that wants to buy them. like I said, eBay's going to take a small chunk of that fee, and I'm going to get just under $2 out of it. So if you want me to ship you some Audible Farm podcast stickers for a small fee, I will do it. I can get you a 3-pack while they last. I've got the big sticker, and I've got 2 different small pig stickers. It's just $7. I got a penny on it for shipping, just to kind of, I don't know, just to throw a shipping cost on there. I was going to make it free, but a penny seems kind of funny, so I just threw it on there. I'm just going to send them to you in an envelope, and yeah, it's going to be great. You guys are going to enjoy the podcast stickers. I got a recent post on Facebook. I saw Bob Minter from one of the previous episodes. He's going out there. He's going to go to Appleton this weekend, I think. I think it's, well, no, not this weekend. Next week? I think it's next week. Yeah, go check that episode out with Bob Minter. But I hooked him up with a handful of Audible Farm podcast stickers. That way I could get a Code Zero radio shirt from him. We did a little gear swap. So he said he's been just peppering everywhere with those stickers. Got some in Pennsylvania, I think he said. That's insanity. So there's some Audible Farm podcast stickers in Pennsylvania, apparently. And I think he's taking some to Wisconsin with him. Maybe to Appleton. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't ask him, but hats off to you, Bob, for being one of my biggest supporters. I really, really appreciate it. You guys want to check out something really cool, go check out Bob's radio station, Code Zero Radio. It's amazing. I go check out the podcast I did with him. It's super awesome. I didn't know much about Bob, but the guy is a gold mine, a treasure trove of knowledge about music, the local scene, and beyond. He knows all sorts of bands that I guarantee you would love. His show is really good. It's really good. It's mostly just unknown bands that have new music, that are still putting out music. It's well, let me read the shirt that I'm wearing here. It's new rock, it's new radio. And that's exactly what it is. I'll tell you, it's good to have people supporting the local scenes regardless of where they're at, and Bob is one of the gold mines out in the local scene. Before I get too much farther into the nonsense of me talking into the back end of this episode, because I just feel like I haven't really... I do the intro and the outro, but I don't do too much talking directly to you, the listener, and I wanted to kind of clue you in. I haven't done too many shows with Three Finger Betty or Unity this year. Both bands have they're not really on hiatus. Unity kind of took a little hiatus maybe, but Three Finger Betty, everybody's been really, really busy in the band with their life and stuff, whether it be kids or wife or whatever it happens to be. So we've kind of taken a short break, but if you go to the Three Finger Betty Facebook page, you will find all sorts of shows there. We've got the events page. Just click on that. We've got shows coming up with The Rumors, with Lionheart, with there's shows coming up. As soon as like about a week away. Let's see here. By the time this episode comes out, it'll be the weekend. So this weekend we got a couple shows. We're going to be playing with the Living Deads. Holy cow, that's this weekend already. Wow. Come check that show out. That's going to be at the Fremont. I guarantee you the Fremont is going to be packed. I guarantee it. And then Brian McKay and the MCKs. I don't know how to pronounce that. But I've listened to their music. They're awesome. No Axion and Shit Kickers and Three Finger Betty are going to be at Vaudeville Muse the very next night. So whether or not you want to do it July 28th or July 29th, we're going to be throwing it down. So check it out. Three Finger Betty's got some shows coming up. Just go to their Facebook page, and it's on the little events section there, and you can find all sorts of stuff for that. Also, there was one other thing that I wanted to mention to you, and that would be the Helion Prime show that's coming up. All right, so let's pull this event up. August 8th, it's a Thursday. Unity is back. Unity's back August 8th. We're going to be in Waterloo, opening up for Helium Prime and Nova Rain. Oh my goodness, that's going to be a good time. So make sure you come out and check that show out. That's at Spicoli's Reverb. I've been there before, back in the day. I'm super stoked to go there and play. So check that show out. It's going to be great. It's going to be a really, really good show. Check out the Three Finger Betty show. You can go to the Three Finger Betty or Unity Facebook pages and check any of that stuff out for all the details on when and where I will be playing. Come bother me at a show. Say hi. I'll try my best not to be awkward in real life. I'll probably have Audible Farm podcast stickers, and if you just come up to me and tell me you listen to the podcast, I'll probably just hook you up with a sticker. Because I don't know. It's just something weird about taking a couple bucks from somebody in person. I don't know what the deal is. I have a problem with selling my own merch in person, so I usually just hook people up with stickers if they're nice enough to say they listen to the podcast. So that brings me to the very end of what I have to say, and it brings me to thanking everybody for listening. That's you guys. That's all the musicians around the state. That's everybody. Every week there's a different smattering of people. I've got a handful of really consistent listeners that every single week tune in. And I just want to say thanks to every single one of you. However you found this podcast, I really, really appreciate it. I can't wait to sit down with my guest this week, Alonso, again, and do like a second part to this, I guess we could call it. It'll just be a second interview I do with him, and I'll upload it probably right after or close to that Helium Prime show. The Helium Prime show is on a Thursday, so I'll tell you what, I'll probably end up just uploading the second part to that on the day of the Helium Prime show. So you can plan on that one. Maybe I'll just do 2 episodes that day and make a little double dosage that week. I don't know. I've been trying to debate how to do bonus episodes or extra episodes. Does anybody have any interest in listening to more than 1 episode a week? I don't know. So let me know all about that. Just let me know what you think of the podcast, how I could improve it, people I should be interviewing. The interview process that I go through is really weird and accordion-y, because like some weeks I'll have like 5 or 6 people that want to get in on an interview, and I'm cool with it, and then I try to schedule it all out. My schedule is so busy I can't make it all, and then they kind of just, everything just gets swept under the rug and everybody forgets about everybody. And it's tough to get a hold of musicians, man. Musicians aren't always the best people to get a hold of in a heartbeat if you need to talk about something. So I just want to say thanks to all the musicians and everybody that's joined me on the podcast, and everybody that's listening to this for that matter. It's been a wild ride. We're closing in on a year now for this, and I've had so much fun sitting down and talking to everybody. I'm trying my best to expand the Audible Farm reach as much as possible, and kind of just put those stickers out everywhere and advertise and talk to people about it, and try and talk to everybody's favorite musicians from across the state. I've got a few in mind that for me would be really big gets. I really got a couple of people that go around the state, and they play pretty big shows, and they're pretty big names in the state. So I got a couple of people in mind for next year to bug, but for now we're still on the home front of closing in on year 1 being over. So I just want to say thanks again for everybody listening. Thanks to Alonso for joining me on this week's podcast. Sorry everybody for it being short, but you do have to admit that was an amazing podcast. I also want to say thanks to our sponsor this week, which was Couchtown Coffee. Old Faithful, my favorite. Number 1 in the morning. It's what I always have. I'll tell you what, I can't start the day without a cup of coffee, and right now Couchtown rules the realm. I'll tell you what, that shipped to my house. It's convenient. It's the freshest coffee I've ever had. I do French press, and the bloom on it when I put the water in there is just, it's insane. I haven't seen anything like that with the big box company coffees, and I've tried them all. So get yourself some Couchtown Coffee. Go to www.couchtowncoffee.com. Check it out. Make sure you use the promo code METAL. This week it's metal because Alonso is probably the most metal person I know. That promo code is good from the 25th all the way through the 31st. That's just 1 week. It's only good for 1 week. This July 25th through the 31st, 2019. That's it. So if you missed out on the other promo codes, I'm sorry, but guess what? We got one this week too. So make sure you use the promo code METAL. Check out Couchtown Coffee. It's roasted right here in Iowa. It's probably my favorite coffee I've ever had. That's not a joke. I'm not doing that because they're sponsoring me. I'm honest. This is for real. I was actually nervous to get a sponsor and have a coffee sponsor, but I'm not anymore. This stuff is amazing. I really appreciate it. Hey, I'll tell you what, kick that music back up. We're going to end this episode the same way we always end it, with a little bit of tunes playing me out. Check out next week's episode. It's going to be a great one. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Go to all the band's pages, give them a like, give them a listen. There's some good stuff out there in Iowa, and I intend to just keep digging and unearthing all of the awesomeness. So we'll see you next week, everybody. Peace.